Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client is innocent. This robot is a victim of prejudice. I demand a fair trial.
First off, welcome. I am Lord Starface, aka Felix. Doing something very rare. I'm actually going to do a response video to something that came across my feed. Now, I don't do this. This is already my second take. This is pretty bad. So I want to do my best to comment on this video. This is from Dizzy Disciple. The topic of the video is Christian music is worse than I thought. It's got tons of likes, got some dislikes, but it's pretty clean cut. This is actually more of an attack on AI music than Christian music in general. But I mean, his argument is that it's infiltrated Christian music. Now, I disagree with some of the stuff that I saw here, and I only saw like about a third of it. I'm going to watch the rest of it now, with you guys, and comment along the way. Again, I'm not a debater. This is where I'm coming from, though. I've been a musician easily. I mean, we could say 40 years. All right, so I've since 5. Since 5, all right. It was in the blood. My father, who's still with us, God bless him, hope he's doing good. He was a music teacher in Cuba, and then came to America, and then I was born. And he was a musician. He taught me piano at an early age. I was already playing like Yankee Doodle, you know what I mean? Little. I've been working on the railroad on the piano, you know what I mean? So that's when I started. Then I got into trumpet, marching band, other side bands, because then I started learning how to play guitar, bass, got into making beats, in the 2000s. All right. And then I ended up becoming a producer and, doing instrumentals for people with live instruments, as well as with, keyboard samples, all that. I didn't get into like turntables like my AI avatar over here. I couldn't scratch or do any of that cool stuff. But, hey, I could play piano, I could play guitar, I could play bass, I could do some percussion, backup vocals, you know what I mean? Very limited success. I do have like some accomplishments that I'm very proud of, but hardly anything that many people would find impressive. Like if I were to tell you my catalog, who I've worked with, the most I've really gotten, I think genuinely, I was like, hey, which is pretty good. I'm thankful for that. You know what I mean? The alternative would have been like, oh wow, sucks. You should have stayed in school. By the way, I graduated. That's not the point. So I do consider myself a musician. All right, and I actually very much love pseudo AI music. I've developed some really great music, or music that I'm proud of. I'll just say that. I've generated music that I'm very proud of. I understand the argument and the threat of AI to, I guess, traditional music. I'll come right off the bat with my top argument. It's this simple. The live musician can't be replaced. I don't care if you have holograms. I don't care, whatever. The live musician performance cannot be replaced. Okay? You want to go see a live band at a bar or in an arena or at some concert venue? You're not going to catch an AI act, all right, at Hammerstein Ballroom. It's not going to happen. At most, maybe you'll have someone's generated dance track into a rave mix, into a DJ set. Okay, but there's your limitation right there. So live music isn't going anywhere. The live musician. All right. So first off, any struggling musician out there, the one thing I can tell you is that's your advantage and use it. Perform live. Perform often. Okay. You do that, you'll be fine. You will be fine. All right. Until the conspiracy comes out that, hey, all real musicians are actually AI robots. Until that conspiracy drops, you guys are okay. All right. But now let's take that out of the equation. Now we're just talking about making the music, period. All right. So I don't know. Let's watch this video. I don't know. I might have to cut and edit because whatever. But a big thank you to Dizzy Disciple for making this video. I understand, again, we disagree, but I'm not trying to dunk on him. I'm coming from a place of just, hey, man. It says, how hippy dippy is that? Hey, man. No, I'm coming from basically like just a counter. Okay. Would love to talk to him, whatever. He seems like a nice guy. He's seeking, he's looking to be pleasing to the Lord. At least that's the impression that I get. I'm a, very flawed Catholic, but I respect any Christian at least seeking for Jesus and for all of that. And I pray for all of us, because we need all the help we can get, especially these days. So, so I definitely understand, especially infiltrating the Christian music. That's like, if you don't like AI music, it can definitely be an attack, but yeah, let's, I think I've set this up enough here, set me up here where I'm coming from. So let's see this video, see what he's got.
AI-generated Christian music. It's topping charts and captivating audiences all over the world. And more listeners are becoming fans of something that doesn't even have a soul, whether they know it or not. Because AI has gotten to the point...
Already, yeah. To say it doesn't have a soul, I think that's highly disingenuous. I'm going to say that, Great, yeah, all right. So you don't have a live... First off... Yeah, okay. One, it's not a live band. All right. Now, there's a lot of solo artists out there, period. All right. That let's say don't even touch AI, but they're themselves. It's their singing. They're doing their own synthesizers. Maybe they're playing their own instruments. If they do, like some people actually play guitar and bass. Other people will just synthesize it on a synthesizer, right? They'll have it, they'll have their keyboard settings, or they'll have samples. All right, and this is one person generating a song. Okay, that right there, you're taking different elements, different tools. There's definitely a soul in there. All right, and my argument is that this is the same thing. All right, a person who cares about the craft and wants to generate a good song, even if it's with AI music, is going to take the time and effort to create a good one. Okay, and I think this is what's going to probably be the big all-time argument here, is that I think people really believe that it's as simple as you open up Suno and you type in make any song about fishing, enter. And I think I may have heard him say something similar to that, but that's pretty much the argument that tends to go around these days. Now, yeah, there's people like that do that, but guess what? Those songs aren't that good. Especially if you're, if you're not using your own lyrics. This is like the one thing that I will say. There's people who, if you don't use your own lyrics, the song tends to not be great, and it tends to use repetitive words, right? You get your neon shadows, your midnight whispers. This is something, by the way, I have a show, and this is something that I tell people who do generate this music. Get into the habit of trying to generate your own lyrics. So, there's going to be the soulless ones. I'm gonna give them the point there that there's going to be soulless music out there where people say, generate a song about my Lord Jesus, and make it gospel, or make it heavy metal, or make it whatever, make it polka, whatever. Enter, and then it'll generate a song. It'll even have its lyrics. It'll be the most generic, forgettable song you've ever heard. Yes, that happens. Guess what? That's not all that happened. Okay? You have people who actually carefully craft the lyrics and have to generate and then edit, can do all this stuff to get it, to get it sound as good as it can sound and get the melody that they're looking for. I'm not even counting the people who literally strum the riff that they have in their head and then import it into something like Suno, where then it generates music around it. We'll even take that out of the equation. There's, if you just go in there and say you're looking for a specific style, you have to be very careful. You have to learn how to prompt. So that's a skill set in itself. But at the end of the day, there's soul in there. There's a soul in there. I hate to break it to you. It may not be like how it presented how you like it, but there's effort. There's people who do their own songs. And again, if it tricks you, chances are, if it tricks you and someone has to tell you that it's AI, more than likely you have at least a hybrid of human AI lyrics or AI or human lyrics. And again, people maybe, and I would say people who blindly, like, let's say you do get a generated Neon Whispers Midnight Shadows song, right? And someone's just listening to it in the background, they'll probably still like it. It's what it is. But again, I highly disagree with this argument. You're already coming off the bat saying that it doesn't have a soul. That's incorrect. Time and effort does go into some of this music, and trust me, the same can be said for the human music element. And again, this is someone who's been a musician and a producer. You don't believe me? Go on SoundCloud, put in hip hop, enter. All right. You might as well put it in an AI prompt. You will get the same result. Generic, the same lines. I'm popping bottles, peeling caps, right? Depending on how old school you get, what you're into. All right. You get that, right? And then guess what? You keep digging, and in SoundCloud itself, you will find in a hip hop category really good music that was crafted and was given a little bit of time and effort, and wasn't just like the typical hip hop track, that you've heard. And this goes into another. This will probably be my other argument here. That coming off the bat is you don't need AI to make slop. Sorry to say that. Go on SoundCloud, and guess what? I am guilty of it. I've made AI slop. I've made human slop. Human traditional music slop. Okay? In my catalog of all the music I've done, not all of them were popular. Not all of them. In fact, what am I saying? I should be saying it the other way. Not all of them were hated. Not all of them were ignored. And they were hated and ignored for this very reason. The music was mediocre at best. Listen, I'm not trying to say I'm like this. I've been a musician for 40 years and I'm this big bad, great music. And I'm not. No, I'm okay. I'm good. I don't think I'm bad. I think I've generated some cool stuff and I've played some cool stuff. Like I said, but that's not the argument. The thing is you go on SoundCloud or you go on some other music site, you will find human generated slop. People will take the same beat and do their, they'll remember the mixtape movement where people were just jacking other people's beats. All right. And people were getting famous off of them. 50 Cent was making mixtapes. And he got big off of that. Eminem, your favorite rappers, were making mixtapes. And the way to do it was you had to take other people's beats and you rap on them. Sometimes, like I try to break that mold. In fact, like one of my things was I wanted to produce original beats for the artist. Problem was they weren't great. That's the downside. That's the downside. But that was my goal. That was like what I went into the business. I was like, oh, let's do original beats, no samples or limited samples. Even though I would mess with them time to time, but I wanted to bring back that. Eventually, I was like, I wanted to bring the live element again into it. I mean, even though it's been done before, I'm not saying I'm trying to reinvent the wheel or anything. I mean, you have roots and you have like hip hop bands that are really good, but I wanted to get into that realm too. But again, nothing spectacular. But at the end of the day, you got the AI slop there. and you got the human slop. I guess that's what it boils down to. Let's see what we
Point
got.
where even the most tech-savvy users can easily be fooled from time to time. But is that a problem or just a feature of modern creativity? It really has me wondering, is AI-generated Christian music actually an art form that can be used to honor God as a tool of worship? Or are we simply allowing robots to control yet another aspect of our lives, only this time on a spiritual level? To answer that question, we have to look back at how we got here in the first place.
Okay, so my answer is yes, you can use that tool to honor God. There's definitely methods to that. That's my answer. All right, I don't know where his answer's going, but yeah, that's what I'm at.
The University of Illinois by professors Lejaron Hiller and Leonard Isaacson composed what we know today as the first AI-generated piece of music type, like randomly generated fun. We say events in musical intelligence, which analyzes and recombines musical patterns to generate new compositions in the style of famous composers like Bach, Mozart, and Chopin. Following David Cope's work, machine learning really took off. That's when AI began to use neural networks, which are digital brains that absorb vast amounts of musical data and produce original tracks instead of just copying patterns. Side note, there's a massive ethical debate around the whole absorbing musical data part, but we'll get to that later. In 1992, experimental musician David Tudor began his work with Intel to create a musical instrument using a neural network chip. Instead of running software, this chip acted like electronic brain cells that processed musical data from its hardware.
Okay, boom. All right, once you're already there, first off, say what you will, this gentleman who created this, that right there is its own achievement. Right, but like take them out of it, right? Let's say the first people who pioneer and learn how to use this machinery or equipment, they are now in this realm of AI music generation. All right, they're like the true pioneers, but that you already can start making the argument like, oh, you have the machine thinking for you, you can, at least for the creator of this, he has the defense like, no, I created this, so therefore whatever this is creating through me because of my invention, my innovation. Okay, sure, but people who would use it afterwards and learn how to wield it, you can always just start making the argument like, okay, well, the machine's doing the thinking for you.
Hardware. This is remarkable because it was the first time a musical instrument was built to think like a brain instead of just following a set of rules or an algorithm. In 2002, Francois Pachet, a researcher at Sony Computer Science Laboratory in Paris, France, created something called the Continuator. The Continuator is a program that was designed to engage in real-time musical improvisation, similar to the way a human would jam with their bandmates. It would simply learn your style and play alongside you. Now, that's pretty remarkable for that time period, being that it was over 24 years ago, but here's...
Yeah, that's pretty crazy that that was able to do that. Yeah, I mean, hey, again, I'll maybe spoil the argument. I think one of the absolute best uses for AI is also, I think, is in art generation and music generation, film, movie generation. I think that's one of its best applications, even more so than like as a knowledge center and stuff like that. Yeah, I've asked Grok straight up lied to me. I've had GPT lie. I mean, say what you will. Google, at least back in the day, you would type in something and you would just get like a reference section, right? Oh, okay, you looking up birds, you can check Wikipedia, you can check Britannica, you can do this, you can do that, right? Now it's like, tell me about birds, and Grok will be like, well, birds have 2 arms and 2 legs, and they like to bark, like sometimes they'll just do that shit. So yeah, like I think the best application is probably in art, music, and film. It's also the most harmless if we're being real. Okay, I would rather it develop a movie than control traffic. You understand what I'm saying? So like, I'm more trusting when it comes to the art form, even though however you feel. And I would imagine that people who disagree with me and think that AI music is just slop doesn't matter. Slop is slop and theft. I would think that they would also agree with me that they should not be in charge of our traffic systems and our medical systems. And, I don't trust it. For defense, I mean, again, that's the Terminator 2 argument, which is valid, but, we won't get into that. So I would think that you agree with me on that. We would all be in agreement there. I'd rather be in the art space than in the defense or, infrastructure.
Here's where things start getting interesting. In 2016, Google builds something called Magenta, and for the first time ever, AI isn't following a rulebook anymore. It's absorbing and learning music the same way a child would. Now, it's creating its own songs. And then 2020.
Okay, I think this is going to come back later, and I think this is probably where we would disagree. We would probably find a point of contention too. All right, so yeah, he's saying that the AI starts absorbing the music as a child would.
23 happened. 2 major AI music generators were created and sparked a massive output for user-generated music, introducing Suno and Udio. Suddenly, anybody, your aunt, a random teenager in Delaware, a guy in Mississippi with no classic musical training whatsoever, could open a browser, type 80s power ballad about losing his car keys, and have a fully produced song in about 30 seconds. The floodgates are now wide open. In fact,
okay, I'll concede that you can have a fully produced song in seconds, right? Let's scale the argument back just a little bit. And again, this is a hypothetical. I'm not a debater, so maybe I'm just setting myself up for the kill here. But you give those same 4 people a guitar. Instantaneously, they are all guitar players. You now have 4 guitar players in front of you. At the drop of a hat, they can now, they could use their fingers, or they can have a pick, and they could just start strumming along, and guess what? They are making music. All right, now what are you going to get? You're going to get the one who's not an experienced musician, is just going to make gobbledygook. All right, you're going to get the one person there that's learned a couple of things. Hey, I know the intro to Sweet Dreams, right? We all know that guy, all right? People my age in their 40s. Remember that? I was that guy. Hey, I know the intro to One. Right? Let me play the intro to One. Yeah, so I don't know. All right, let's see where this is going.
In fact, they're not even there anymore. Meanwhile, the record labels lost their minds, and honestly, I can understand why. Sony, Universal, and Warner began filing lawsuits. Because here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. These AI models learn to make their music by listening to their music. Billions of songs scanned without permission, without credit, and without a single check written to any artist. And those
Guess what? That's music, baby. Right? I know this sounds so cold-hearted. That's all music. AI, human. Let's bring this back. I think this is where I started getting mad. And again, maybe you can tell me why I'm wrong here.
Fully produced song in about 30 seconds. The floodgates are now wide open. In fact, they're not even there anymore. Meanwhile, the record labels lost their minds, and honestly, I can understand why. Sony, Universal, and Warner began filing lawsuits. Because here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. These AI models learn to make their music by listening to their music. Billions of songs scanned without permission, without credit, and without a single check written to any artist. And
thank you. That is every musician. Living and dead. That's everybody. Sorry, Metallica. Who do you think you are? You just wrote Kill 'Em All. Sorry, we have Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, and we have a Motorhead, or we have these bands. You sound like them. You've been scanning their music by walking around, absorbing this music and liking it, and just regurgitating a different version of it. That's music. Okay, I'll grant you this. You have this tool now that does it on a massive scale, but guess what? It's just the same thing on a massive scale. That's all it is. All right, it's like if it's wrong there, it's wrong here. Like again, this gets into the point of creativity. Yeah, you have a software that can do this, but the human brain does that. That's all music. It's done. It's sometimes it's done by committee. Sometimes it's a sole individual. They're all absorbing the ideas of the predecessors before them. That's what music is. It's built on the music before it. That's what this is going to be. All right. It changes the entire dynamic of music. Period. Okay. And people aren't going to like it. I get it, but some people are. And that's part of the argument too. That like this is where kind of people get into feels like, oh, this person liked this song and didn't even know it was AI. So what? You've heard this argument before. Let people like things, right? I was like, oh, no, sorry, but you generated a song in the style of Tool. And Tool already... How did Tool come about? You don't think they had any type of musical influence whatsoever? And they were just they just popped up out of the ground and just came up with that. They came up with Sober, just out of the ether. No. All right, sorry, I'm getting heated here. But let's see.
Those lawsuits are still playing out to this day, and the rules are still being written.
My name is Nathan Thornhill. I am a full-time cybersecurity analyst. I've been in IT for over a decade. The sources of this material that it has to do its analysis from is not in and of itself ethically sourced. There's a number of lawsuits that have been going on with like Facebook that just torrented a whole bunch of book files from pirating. Okay, man.
Huh. Let me tell you something. Any director, any modern day movie director that's ever watched a bootleg movie or watched a movie without properly paying for it or reading a book that wasn't theirs is guilty of this. Oh man, he got inspired by watching a bootleg copy of Mortal Kombat when it came out. Again, listen. I understand this is a very stripped down version of this argument. All right, but again, this is the same thing except on a massive scale. Same shit. Pardon my language. It's the same thing.
Websites and then use those to train their AI, so none of those authors got paid. This is all sourced from, most of the time, unwilling sources or unknowing sources, and I think that's...
Okay, here's the other thing too. Sorry about this. Didn't get paid? Musicians didn't get paid? Are you serious? Do you mean to tell me that there was an instance when a song was played for a person or somebody heard a song and it inspired them to write something off and they didn't pay for that? How many times have you heard a song that you didn't pay for? Again, it's like, first off, if you're a musician, 90% of you already don't get paid for your music. Me included. I don't get paid for my music. Said my music is mid at best. I think, and again, I love my music. I'm proud of my music. And this is one of the things that I like about AI. I can make my own music for me, live my own little world and make my own little music that certain people would like to share. And I've gotten some positive feedback on some songs. I know I've disgusted people with some of my music. Hey, that's it. Hey, listen, that's the art. That's music. Come on. How many people really see it as a serious payday? Even your famous musicians, the ones that like, if they're not, unless taking the live element out of it, just like from streaming, oh man, God forbid that they should have gotten their 18 cents. They should have gotten their 18 cents when I heard that song for the 1,000th time. They should have gotten that 18 cents. Come on. You can't be serious here.
One of the major concerns.
Major record labels care about human artists the way McDonald's cares about cows. I hope they lose. Music made by AI should not be permitted to be monetized, and any artist ripped off compensated. Better still, it should just be banned. And as of the recording of this video, AI can write, produce, and master a radio-ready track faster than you can open up your guitar case. The question isn't whether AI can make music anymore. That's obvious. The question is, what do we do with it?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I want to hear this again.
Unwilling sources or unknowing sources. And I think that's one of the major concerns.
Major record labels care about human artists the way McDonald's cares about cows. I hope they lose. Music made by AI should not be permitted to be monetized, and any artist ripped off compensated. Better still, it should just be banned. And as of the recording of this video, AI can write, produce, and master a radio-ready...
We're banning musical creations because they were inspired by the artist, by an artist that was... because their music may have been inspired in some way in the creation of it through the AI tool. We're now banning it. You know, this is like the equivalent of like you're not able to sing happy birthday at Applebee's. You know that? You can't sing happy birthday at Applebee's. How stupid is that? You know why? Because the original writer of Happy Birthday gets entitled to some stupid check or whatever. Like, he can sue you for singing Happy Birthday in an establishment. It's like, I'm sorry. You know, what are we doing? This is the behavior you're justifying, by the way. This is what you want more of. Hey, wait a minute. That riff, that sounds like a riff I wrote 10 years ago. Guess what, buddy? That riff you wrote sounds like another riff that someone wrote 5 years ago and 20 years ago. And he wrote a riff that he got 50 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, this is where we're going. So you want to start banning that? Oh, you know, you're banning inspiration in a sense. Or, what's this? Or even attributing flattering. I don't know. Yeah, you're a lot of people when they do these efforts. Maybe I'm just speaking from my own mindset, especially if I do like a cover or if I do something in the style of, those are fun to me. I like doing like a song in the style of Tool, right? That is my way, at least, to honor the music they created. You know, maybe you don't like that. That's how I choose to do it, but that's hey. You know, at least for my American viewers, hey, welcome to freedom, right? We could do that. You don't have to listen to it, you know. You don't have to shit on it, but hey, we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to do what we're going to do, you know. As long as we're not harming adults or kids or animals, you know, it's what it is. All right, let's see where he's going here. We are only 5 minutes. I don't even know if I'm going to get through this whole video.
Track faster than you can open up your guitar case. The question isn't whether AI can make music anymore. That's obvious. The question is, what do we do with it?
All right, what do we do with it?
AI has done it all. If there's a genre, then there's an AI-generated band that's most likely already topped the charts.
Billboard says at least 6 AI or AI-assisted artists have debuted on various rankings.
From hip-hop and R&B to metal and even 60s soul music. Now, although there are tons of notable AI projects that have impacted the music world, I'm going to quickly touch on a few that stood out to me personally.
Okay. So, right here, first off,
have debuted on various rankings.
From hip-hop and R&B to metal and even 60s soul music. Now, although there are tons of notable AI projects that have impacted the music world,
let's hear that one more time.
And even 60s soul music. Now, although there are tons of notable AI projects that have impacted the music world,
there it is. My opinion, that's a concession. All right? The price to pay, yes, there are notable AI artists that have left an impression and people like the music. That should be the end of it. That should be the end of the discussion. There are people out there who enjoy the music. Sorry, you don't like how it was created. You know, I guess this gets into the process of learning, right? Is it ethical for a computer to learn from the outside world or from its outside influence? That's exactly what a computer was, like, I guess, pretty much designed to do, right? It helps us organize. But I don't know. I guess my response is no. At least I would put the caveat in the arts. I think in the arts is its most safe application. It's its most interesting. It's the most, safe. I was gonna say harmless, but yeah, you know. I guess I don't know if I have a third point there, but that's what it is. All right, let's keep going. I might actually end this soon. I think I got it out, but
I'm going to quickly touch on a few that stood out to me personally. Take Sienna Rose, for example, a 60s soul singer who gained 3 million monthly Spotify listeners.
On Spotify, Sienna Rose is listed as a neo-soul singer with more than 3 million monthly listeners.
3 songs on the Spotify Viral 50 simultaneously, 14 million streams on a single track, and Selena Gomez posted her music at the Golden Globes.
Streaming service Deezer developed an...
There it is. You think Selena Gomez is... Yeah, I'm not a fan of her music. I'm not a hater. I'm not a fan of her music. I don't go out of my way to listen to her stuff. I think is a fair way to say it. I don't think I've hated anything she's put out, you know. But like, it's not like if Selena's in town, like, guys, we got to go see Selena. Not now, but like right now. That's not me. If it could fool her, and I don't even want to say fool, because I think that's disingenuous. The song was presented to her. She enjoyed the song and shared it. There's your other argument there. All right. Unless she blindly shared it without listening to it. That would be the caveat. Unless she blindly shared it without listening to it. She heard something and was like, wow. And shared it. Again, you got something that another artist actually enjoyed and shared it. All right. So again, I guess this goes into it. There's stuff in there that people will enjoy. All right. I don't know. Maybe that, I don't even know if that's relevant, but here we go.
AI music detection tool.
Are you certain that Sienna Rose is AI?
Yes, we are.
And millions of people are wondering who she is. Well, she's no one because it's not a real person. It's AI.
First off, anybody who gets into the business, or say the business, right? Anybody who gets into the business like me. Yeah. Anyone who sits at their computer and generates stuff and types in the computer for this stuff, you become an AI detection unit. All right, it does become a little bit easier. I mean, hey, you look, anyone can get fooled, even people who get into the craft, but you can pretty much tell. You can pretty much tell AI stuff. You know, the more you do it personally. So I guess is one thing I would say is like, don't be afraid of it. Especially if you're going into it, because you need to know it. Even if you disagree with it, you need to know what it is to look out for, so you don't get duped, right? And I say duped, I'm using your term. You know, if you don't want to get duped, if you don't want to, God forbid, enjoy someone's creation because you didn't, God forbid you don't want that. Which, by the way, happens with human artists too. You know, sometimes they, hey, guess what? I don't want to hear The Weeknd's new song. It's not my thing. I don't want to hear Suno. I don't want to hear Sith Lord Felix sea shanty. I don't. That was generated on Suno. I don't need that in my life. Fair enough. Again, I forgot where I was going with that. Well, let's hear that again.
Oh. And millions of people are wondering who she is. Well, she's no.
Yeah. If you don't want that, fine. But if totally lost my thought.
No one, because it's not a real person. It's AI. Then there's Breaking Rust, a country band that climbed all the way to #1 on Billboard's country digital song sales chart with 2.5 million.
How do you get to the #1 on Billboard? Right? You got to be pretty exceptional. You got to be pretty exceptional. All right. So like, this is what this is another might be a bitter pill, is that it's a different skill set. There is a different skill set that goes into generating AI music. There is definitely a different skill set, and it's more technical and prompting and all this stuff. But there is a musical ear element that plays its part too. You know what sounds good, you know what doesn't, you know what sound you're looking for. You know what to say, no, regenerate, no, edit this, oh, let me change this lyric. You know. So to get to first off, for someone like Breaking Rust or whatever to get to that level, whatever it is, some generated, it could be some Reddit mod, it could be some Reddit mod in his basement, in between Hot Pockets and Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Here's my all right, Breaking Rust. Let's do this track here. Bah, 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 bah. And then generates this masterpiece. You got to give him his flowers. Sorry. You got 2.3 million monthly listeners. They're all idiots. These are 2.3 million idiots who have, they don't know it's AI. And if they do know, there's no way they know it's AI. Why would they know? They're poor victims. Come on.
Monthly listeners. Once again, AI generated. But the one that really caused some commotion online is Xania. Xania? Xania Monet is a gospel and R&B singer created using Suno.
So from the beginning,
I go into Suno.
Suno, okay, that's the music app.
Correct. Suno is the music app.
By a woman named Talisha Nikki Jones. Xania Monet is interesting because it first went viral, but then it got a multi-million-dollar record deal. It also debuted on Billboard's Hot Gospel and Hot R&B charts and crossed 44 million streams. And it's not even a real person. At one point, she said it's not all AI, but an avatar? I don't know what that means, but it's definitely all AI.
Okay. I think this was a little bit disingenuous in the editing. I don't think it was Dizzy, but maybe the story he was clipping. Just to be clear, this isn't a knock on your editing or anything like that. I think, but this is first off, this is my problem with mainstream media. That look, yeah, the problem is with CBS Mornings. Look at this.
Xania Monet is a gospel and R&B singer created using Suno.
So from the beginning,
I go into Suno.
Suno, okay, that's the music app.
Correct. Suno is the music app.
By a woman named
Okay, actually, he cut it off there. See how it cuts off? I go into Suno. Yep, it's correct. Suno's a music app. Cut. You know? That's it. She's just using AI to make the music. She's just using AI to make the music. Boom. Guilty. I went to the kitchen. Oh, the kitchen was where the food is? Yeah, that's right. I went to the kitchen where the food is. Oh, cut. This dude ate all the birthday cake. Sith Lord Felix asked where the kitchen is, therefore he ate all the birthday cake. The fact that I did eat all the birthday cake is irrelevant, but the fact to make that leap is illogical. And I think, again, disingenuous.
Talisha Nikki Jones. Xania Monet is interesting because it first went viral, but then it got a multi-million-dollar record deal. It also debuted on Billboard's Hot Gospel and Hot R&B charts and crossed 44 million streams. And it's not even a real person. At one point, she said it's not all
It's not all AI. Xania is an avatar. Okay, yeah. So what she did was she created an avatar to present for her music. I will say this, I know zero about this. This is, which again, I like about this particular situation, I'm only replying to this video. So again, that's a shame on me. This seems like deception on her part. Like, you know, if we're to take them at their word, it's like someone tried to pass off a real, an AI song or whatever as a real person. Now that I do have a problem with. I think that's disingenuous. That's dishonest, especially if you go in a Christian standpoint. It's sin. You know, it's deception. But that's a different argument. All right. You know, again, that's a different argument. That has, you know, the deception element is a valid contention. Okay, I'll give you that. But again, I don't think that's the overall
AI, but an avatar. I don't know what that means, but it's definitely all AI. In my research,
I don't know what that means, but it's definitely all AI. Again, that's not, you know, stop.
Did find out that she sells a course on how to be a digital boss, whatever that means, which is essentially just her teaching people how to do what she's doing, using AI to get people to give you money, I think. Please don't buy this.
I don't know this lady from Adam, but again, that's not really fair. I don't know. Please don't buy this, bro. You know, if you don't know, if you don't know what it is, you literally say, I think, I don't know. What are you doing? You know, if you don't know, all right, just to go with that argument, if you don't know, what if it's a good product? All right. Now you're trying to cut this lady's, you're trying to cut her legs off. And I don't know if it is. Maybe it is a scam. Maybe it is, but you don't know. So I don't know. Say that is kind of a little messed up. Maybe, I don't know. Because she could be, it probably is a scam. That's just funny. Probably is. But I don't know. I don't know. So until I know, I would never dream of telling somebody, don't buy this. I don't know. What if it's dope? What if it's a cool thing?
Dang, 181 members at $100 each? That's like $18,000. All right, guys, welcome back to Dizzy's AI-generated school for giving me money. Just kidding. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of AI-generated music projects that are raking in millions of views every single month.
People that are listening.
And guess what? I am not one of them. I am not one of them. If I'm lucky, I think it's funny. I've had limited success with some songs, and when I say limited, I'm talking about hundreds, maybe over 1,000 views on some songs. Yeah.
So yeah, these artists don't even know that they're listening to AI. Can't believe that this is legal to do.
Wow. Did you know back in the day, sometimes you would hear a song from, you would hear a vinyl record, and then, sometimes you'd find out that that the person that was a black guy singing, and the white listener didn't know that. That's such a horrible comparison. They don't know. And at what point? First off, where's the harm? I do think there should be transparency. Again, this goes back maybe to the earlier form. I don't think it's fair to, I don't think it's right to intentionally mislead someone in trying to pass off. I was like, oh, this is this is a real person. This is a real artist. I think if that's the overall argument here, I agree with you. I think that's a deceptive practice that should be struck down, period. But if, you're blindly listening to a playlist on Spotify and an AI song comes on and you tap your toe to a song that was created by AI, you poor victim. Will somebody think of the poor person that enjoyed a song?
Artist, 2.1 million monthly listeners for an AI artist.
Now, up until this point, we've been talking about the secular music scene where genres like pop, country, and R&B are built around entertainment. But what happens when AI crosses over into the Christian music space and becomes disruptive? Well, that's exactly what happened in November 2025 when an AI-generated soul singer named Solomon Ray, described on Spotify as a Mississippi-made soul singer carrying a Southern revival sound, hit #1 on the iTunes Christian.
Wrong. I will concede that there was a little lawyer talk in the description here, but he put it up there himself.
Spotify as a Mississippi-made soul singer.
Wrong. That he did not. Let's hear it one more time.
An AI-generated soul singer named Solomon Ray, described on Spotify as a Mississippi-made soul singer.
Soul singer. Let's read it. It's right here about Solomon Ray is a Mississippi-born concept with a soul revivalist sound. I sound like a lawyer. With a soul revivalist sound, blending gospel conviction with Delta grit. He uses warm analog textures, Hammond organ swells, dusty horn lines, tambourine rhythms, live bass groups. He's basically telling you how to do the prompt, by the way, by doing
that, carrying a Southern revival sound. Hit no.
Okay, so again, all right. This does get a little questionable. But first off, if you read it in there, he did not say he was a person. He said he was a concept. All right. He could have been a little clearer, but he did not deceive you. You chose to read singer when it said concept.
Solomon Ray, described on Spotify as a Mississippi-made soul singer carrying a Southern revival sound, hit #1 on the iTunes Christian and Gospel chart, #1 and 2 on the Billboard's Gospel Digital Song Sales chart, and surpassed 7 million streams across platforms. He beat Brandon Lake, he beat Elevation Worship, he even beat Forrest Frank. And Forrest Frank responded to the controversy by saying this.
At minimum, AI does not have the Holy Spirit inside of it, so I think that's really weird.
Okay, hold on. Let's have fun with this. All right, let's see.
See, by saying this.
At minimum, AI does not have the Holy Spirit inside of it. So I think that's really weird to be opening up your spirit to something that has no spirit. So what are we doing about this? Are we rejecting this? Are we championing this? I personally will not be listening to this. I already don't listen to secular music, and I'm sure not going to be listening to AI Christian music.
And on that video, Phil Wickham commented, "It's difficult to envision a future where we look back and think creating AI was a net positive for our world. At most, it should be a tool for humans, not a replacement for them."
God. Yeah, guys. It's not a replacement for you. Yeah, it's funny when it comes to the artist. This is all right. Now, and this is coming from an artist here. This guy is saying, listen, but we should be using AI as a tool for humans. We should be building robots that will do our menial tasks so we can stay home and make our own music. This guy wants Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I don't want Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I'd rather keep Skynet in my music catalog.
Solomon Ray may be the big dog on campus right now, but he's not the only one pulling numbers in the AI Christian music space. I have personally found hundreds of bands with hundreds of thousands of monthly listeners and millions of listens on more than one song. And don't feel bad if you thought any of these were real bands. Even the homie Costi Hinn.
Yeah, don't feel bad. Why would you feel bad? Why on earth would you feel bad for listening to something and liking it? And something that is meant to, get you in a state of mind to praise the Lord. Again, I'm a traditional Catholic, all right? Like, obviously, stuff like this, it doesn't belong in Mass, all right? Doesn't belong in Mass, doesn't belong in, maybe you say it don't belong in service. But, it's like, I almost feel like he believes that an AI is telling AI to create the AI music. Like, there's no human element involved whatsoever. All right? Even going to the computer and say, using his argument, type in, I want a Jesus song in 80s rock. Enter. There's human input, period. So it's not soulless. I'm sorry it's not to the degree you want, okay? But guess what? Here's the other flip side. That song's probably going to suck. All right? Maybe he'll like it. He'll get some sort of pleasure. God forbid that. God forbid he writes 80s, make me an 80s Christian song about Jesus. And it's AI slop. And he hears it and he likes it. And then his friend hears it and kind of likes it. And some of his friends actually kind of like it. Oh no. I'm so sorry that Frankie Christian over here with his music here didn't get, got out billboarded. But guess what? Frankie Christian, whatever his freaking name was, has a live performance. He still makes more money. You don't think so? Unless he's getting, bent over by his label. Whatever he's got going on, I would assume, especially in this age, more likely he's independent. He's got his own thing going on. He's gonna be fine. And again, this is look, not accomplished musician, all right, and to that I gotta defer and give him respect, because this guy, whoever this guy is here on the screen, he, number 3 Billboard. Christian music, not my genre, unless it's like Orthodox chants or like Christian Catholic hymns. You know what I mean? Like I'll stray. Sometimes I'll get into my POD. Remember POD? Sometimes I'll go back to that, and I love my Jesus songs that crop up out of nowhere from different sources. But yeah, give him his props. He's going to be fine because he's performing. Let's say this band, this AI guy that took the 1 and 2 spot is going to make more streaming, sure. But that's it. That's it. If you're lucky, maybe you can design some merch around the person. Okay. I think maybe you'll get limited success for that. But the second my man here goes on tour, he's a number 3 on the Billboard. You'll be fine touring, especially, whatever. The second he goes on tour, by the 3rd show probably, and again, maybe I'm out of my element here, he's officially made way more money than Mr. 1 and 2 on the Billboard. Okay? They've generated more money. Now, I guess, I don't know, maybe then it comes to the splits and, the road crew and overhead. Okay. That's, again, out of my element. I never got to that stage. I think I've been in the top 50,000 on the Billboard once. That's about it. You know what I mean? So, school me on that if I'm wrong. But being number 1 or 2 on the Billboard streaming only, how much are you making? How much are you really making? You know? Is it elite, eyes wide shut party money? I don't think so.
It's difficult to envision a future where we look back and think creating AI was a net positive for our world. At most, it should be a tool for humans, not a replacement for them. Solomon.
Yeah, man. Let's get them in. Yeah, let's get the T1000. Let's get the T800s out here. They will help us because, you know, they could do. Let them take blue collar jobs. Let them take blue collar jobs. That's what we need AI for. I want an AI. I want AI to serve me my burger. I want AI to build me my house. I want AI to design my infrastructure. I don't want it writing music. Oh, Lord. Let's make it a net positive where we can have a fake AI girlfriend to talk to brainwash us into basically taking all our conversational data and harvesting it. Right? Let's have it design our sewage for the next city that's being built, and the sewer system or whatnot, so that when it decides to like just totally didn't think of something, whatever, and literally lies to you, which by the way the AI does, and it designs like a shoddy design. Let's do that, or have the systems being run by AI systems so that they can get hacked. Let's do that. Let's have that instead of I don't want Suno making a Yankee Doodle metal cover. We don't need that. I agree that it's not a net positive for our world. The bitter pill is that it's a net positive for the art. It's a net positive for the art. Don't believe me? Again, look around. Even among your slop, you have funny memes. Sora, come on. Sora videos are hilarious sometimes. You got, and again, you get funny music. It's its own genre. Again, don't be threatened by it. I actually think I dedicated an hour to 8 minutes of this video. This is kind of like, again, this is where I literally stopped the video. So let's see where
Solomon Ray may be the big dog on campus right now, but he's not the only one pulling numbers in the AI Christian music space. I have personally found hundreds of bands with hundreds of thousands of monthly listeners and millions of listens on more than one song. And don't feel bad if you thought any of these were real bands. Even the homie Costa him got fooled. Sorry, dude, I just think that's funny. Another group that consistently came...
it's funny you got fooled. It's not really if you know about AI music. To go back to that lady, they were saying when they cut her off, saying, Suno's just an app. You know what else happens once you open Suno? There's other stuff. You don't just open the page. You actually have to type stuff in there. What do you type? I don't know, lyrics. Did she write her lyrics, or did she ask Grok or ChatGPT to write her lyrics for her? Or did she ask Suno to write her lyrics for her? And again, I'm going to tell you right now, like people who are in the business know when a song's lyrics, especially, are solely AI generated, and there's not even a hint of a human editing. All right. Now, chances are you have a really good prompter, which is possible. She's learned prompting and can wield it like a wizard and a fire missile. Or she wrote her own lyrics. And guess what? Both are equally impressive to me. That's just my opinion. She wrote her own lyrics and put it in there. And maybe even uploaded a tape or sample of her singing the melody. And maybe I'm taking this as like, to give her the most benefit of the doubt. That this is more of Steelman, okay? But maybe she put in her own lyrics. She put in her own melody. Maybe she strummed on her guitar, played on her little flute, pulled out her tuba or trumpet. or keyboard, slide whistle, and just did her little, here's my riff, here are my lyrics. Can you help me design something in such and such style? And I'd like the vocals to be like this, that, pop, 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 pop. Give me this sound, pop, 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 pop. Enter. Oh, wow. Guess what, by the way? For those of you all who do not do AI music creation, all right, which, again, listen, this isn't enough. It's just not your realm. You don't do it. All right? It is not as simple as you hit enter. Yeah, you hit enter, you get 2 songs. Boom. Guess what? They both sound like shit. Okay. All right. Let me adjust. Let's do it this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Let's hear it again. Boom. Wait. That's not like, that sounds like shit. I need this, and this. Enter. Oh, wait. Okay. This sounds a little better. All right. Let me see what I can work with here. Guess who else does that? Executive producers. For the most part. A&Rs. Hey, Sally. Even though they're in California. Sally, get over here and bring me the demos. I want to hear what's out here right now. Take out CD, enter, play. This sounds like shit. Boom. Rip the CD in half. Boom. Next. Okay, this is, oh, look, Sith Lord Felix gave me a sample. Play. Stop. This sounds like shit. Boom. Right. Next. Oh, who's this? Oh, another one by Felix. That's not even bother. I get my point. All right. So at this point, you're now have the role of executive producer on top of your own artist, which is, I guess, another power that they don't want you to have. Let's see.
Him up on my radar is the K-pop group called Amaya, who is not only clearly an AI project, but they won't outright admit it. And that's the big issue here. Deceptive practices for the means of financial gain.
This is Christian K-pop group, and what made this one stand...
Yep, here we are. We are at a point of agreement on here. Let's share this out.
Compared to the others is that there is nothing on the channel, nothing on their website, which is just a Shopify store, that says these are AI. And so they're not making an effort to be transparent that this is an AI tool or an AI band, and here's our mission, here's our objective.
And I personally have a big problem with any entity that uses deceptive practices to take advantage of the church. And that seems to be the case with Amaya. Someone sent me evidence that shows that Amaya was created by a marketing firm in order to promote an AI app. And there's a lot more to this story, but just know that in my opinion, Amaya is a sales trap. And I think
you know what? You're not getting an argument out of me there. Again, I think I spoke on this earlier. Deceptive practices. Big no-no. Big no-no. Yep. That's disgusting. My opinion. You don't have to be deceptive. I mean, like, you can probably make the argument at the very least the last artist or whatever, the one that was the top 2 guy, wrote in there he was a concept, not a person. Okay, at least there's some level of something. Now, according to this argument, and again, I'm taking him at his word here, but apparently there's none of that for this K-pop Christian band.
You should unfollow them if you haven't already.
This is AI. This account, it's all AI. It's all AI Christian music. You read the description of the video, it's like, we were in the studio, this is a hard song. No, it wasn't. You're a computer. It was not hard for you to write AI Christian music slop.
It's one thing to transparently use AI to generate music or even create a fictional character to explore your creativity.
Even though I wouldn't personally do that, as long as you're being transparent, I can understand it.
AI doesn't have the...
Ah, look at that. You know what? I think we're going to end the video there because maybe I judged him too harshly. Maybe we actually agree at the end of the day, and I just spent all this time hooting and hollering for nothing. I have to get back to my day job because I am not a successful musician or a YouTube content creator. But I am gonna submit this anyway. Maybe I'll do a part 2 to this, but yeah, look, I went an hour on this. A big thank you to Dizzy, a disciple here, and letting me rant on your content here. I pray for you, your family, your friends, and loved ones. You know, again, this is strictly forgive my passion or whatever. You know, I know I'm getting loud, a little boisterous, but by all means, I respect your opinion. You have the right to it. I'd like to, explore that a little more. Whatever. I'll watch more of the video, but hey, again, we can at least end on this point of agreement here. if you are lying about what you are, that's with anything in life. You're in the wrong. All right. And yeah, doing something like that, pretending to be a real band, it's disgusting. And yeah, that sets back the community, because let me tell you something. There are people who are very open that they are using AI, and some of these I call these people musicians. And I'll tell you something else. In my time, at least getting to listen to other people's creations, you see a development. You see I think the overall, there's a lot of I think in this, right? It turns out what I think is wrong a lot of time. But overall, I will say that I've seen many people develop as musicians, or at least as writers, you know, especially those who get out of the phase of letting the AI generate your lyrics. When you get into the realm of generating your own lyrics and at least understanding the craft and getting into it, getting messy and making bad song after bad song, slop after slop, and then with the occasional gem, you go through that grind. You'll end up with some really, really interesting music at the end of the day. And I've seen some musicians develop out of that, you know, and it should not be discounted. It should not be discounted. Again, I'm going to give you the best argument here is that the safest place for AI is in the arts. You know, I think that's the big ugly truth that the hippy dippies don't want you to know. You know, they want you to want them to want AI in schools and in industry, other industries. You should want AI to raise your kids. You should want AI to build your homes. You should want AI to plan your 15-minute cities. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You liked a Janis Joplin style rock song that you generated in about 20 minutes? You're a piece of shit.
Your Honor, members of the jury, my client is no criminal. This robot is an artist capable of creating good music. Its compositions evoke joy, not harm. You must acquit. Let music be the defense. Has anyone here not vibed out to Back in Black covered in New Jack Swing? Or a song about midnight echoes in the neon shadows? Not even one toe tap? Midnight echoes in the neon shadows. Midnight echoes in the neon shadows. I rest my case.